apparently Danny Richardson was very good in this game, but so was that
That was a nice little play from Danny Richardson. And I think it was in that same play that it might have been Peru. Someone picked it up at dummy half and did some awesome kind of flying dummy half pass as well. Sort of because he'd come in and played the ball, and there was actually nobody there, and he sort of like ran and sort of picked it up and threw it while as he was flying through the air.
It's a hugely different Dom Pereira than his first season at Saints, isn't it? For me, the young kids, Wellesby's the shining light of that.
Yeah.
When they played him in the away game at Catalan at standoff, that was a total farce of it. Put him in there. He wasn't ready for that sort of position in those sort of conditions against that sort of side away from home. They made the wrong call there.
Yeah.
Probably should have played him at fullback and put Coote in the half, if we're honest. But whenever he's played at fullback, wing, centre, he's looked a huge threat, and a very, very talented kid.
He can play. He can play standoff, and obviously at his level is a very talented standoff. But I think he'll he might end up there eventually. But yeah, he's a quality kid, isn't he? So,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, did you pick out anything else from this one then?
No, I mean I had Aaron Smith's run exactly and the fight, and then exactly the same. Adam Swift, who's like kind of the forgotten man, isn't he? That they can just bring in, but when he would bring him
4 tries in 2 games.
yeah.
Fair enough. Let's move on to your Warrington Wolves then, shall we?
Yep.
Do you want to tell us the score, and then I'll have to do the stats?
Yes. I don't mind reading them if you want to give me your sheet. Or has he got?
No, it's alright, you
know
go.
Precious amount of sheet. Warrington beat Huddersfield Giants 50-12 in front of 10,000.
50-19.
Sorry, 50-19. Yeah, sorry. The score at half time was 19-12 to the Huddersfield Giants in front of 10,445 people, and the referee was, is it Tom Grant?
Tom Grant,
yeah.
Well, in terms of we'll talk about the pattern of that game, because that's an interesting turnaround, isn't it? Well, I'm sure you've got plenty to say on that. But in terms of the stats, Wire managed twice as many breaks as the Giants and 345 more metres. They turned that into points with 8 tries scored to 3 conceded. Huddersfield were under 1,000 metres and also hurt themselves with a 12-4 penalty count. 11-4 in the paper, but 12-4 on the Super League website. So, Individually, Mike Cooper, 108 metres, 5 offloads. Chris Hill, 1 try, 144 metres. Blake Austin, 2 tries, 7 tackles, 105 metres, 3 clean breaks. Josh Charnley, 136 metres. Just one jumps off the stat sheet for Huddersfield, and that's Alex Mellor, who scored a great try to round out near the end of the first half. 45 tackles and 12 mark tackles.
Yep. Do you want me to start fan reviews?
Yeah, go for it.
Yep, so Tom Eckley said, quite happy to have got 50, given we decided not to play most of the first half again. Matt Davis is fast becoming one of my favourite players in the game. Might not hit massive numbers, but fuck me, that man goes looking for work.
He loves a good workhorse, doesn't he, Tom? Mark W said, Giants dominated the first half. Warrington came out swinging in the second. Unfortunately, that's not a metaphor. With 2 concussions in the first 5 minutes, it was pretty clear what their game plan was. Losing 2 of our hardest hitting forwards in an already depleted side, it was only going to end one way. Next week is a must-win game.
At MikeDog22 said, Wire completely dominated for 70 minutes of this game, but a few missed tackles in a 10-minute spell before half-time had us worrying again. Some hard hits saw the Giants lose a couple of players to injury, and fatigue took a toll. Austin making it look easy again. Uarte had an absolute stinker and very kindly set out Ben Murdoch-Masilla for his try.
Oh yeah, God. Rob said that has to be the worst ref performance all season. I've never seen such a biased ref before. And Austin clearly knocks on with his second try, and a minute later Akuma Tai scores the exact same try but gets disallowed for a double movement. Austin's try, was that at the Wire end? Would you have got a good view of that?
I did have it. It was at the Wire end. I wasn't in that stand.
Oh, sorry.
I was in the North stand this time, so I didn't see.
Getting your sing on.
Yeah, I wasn't too far away from the Huddersfield fans, to be honest with you, with their bloody cowbell. But I
thought Wolfie about the cowbell.
Well, yeah. But yeah. So. It did look, when I saw it, I was like, oh, because I thought he had knocked on Austin. and potentially had got his arm down, and it was like a double. I could see how it could have been called, and then he just made it. He called it as a try. So I think obviously. Rob said that he was biased, and we say it all the time. But refs aren't biased. I think he did have a poor performance, or he did make some strange decisions.
It's a one-sided penalty count. I think that's the thing that might add weight to some Giants fans saying that. Do you think ultimately the ref was responsible for a result that ended with a 50-19 scoreline? Probably not.
No.
I thought Austin swapped hands with it. So I thought when he's leaned over, he's moved it into his other hand because he was getting tackled, and that's how he's got it down. I don't know, but you can't really see great from the highlights, and I didn't see the Thai one and whether that was similar or not.
It's different.
At that stage, the scoreline was 36-19. Well, it was 32-19 before that, so potentially crucial moment in the game.
Yeah. I mean, we were dominant in that second half. I think. So in terms of the kind of the way that the game won, just addressing the sort of the ref thing. I think there looked to be like a knock on in the lead up to Chris Hill's try, which was our second try in the first half. I thought there was a knock on from Patton in there, which before the penalty, and then there was a kind of a weird dropping of the ball that I think Darryl Clark lost the ball, then kicked it before it hit the ground.
Yes.
So there was that. It felt like weird. It felt like a strange.
It felt lucky.
It did. Yeah, and I think there was that. But equally, it looked to me like McGilvery passed the ball forward for the first try, which was is it Senior? Senior. It looked forward to me in game, and then when they played the replays, which we've got our own screen, it looked like a metre forward. So there was a couple of strange ones that went kind of either way, I guess. I think it didn't have his best performance. That's definitely true, and maybe we got the rub of the green.
I'm right in saying Blake Austin's jumped to the top of the Man of Steel standings after this performance. Was he the main man again?
In flashes, I would say. I think the key thing was injuries, and it's kind of like what Mark W has said. I think he was. So basically, what happened was we weren't playing great. Typical kind of post-Easter performance. We were making a few mistakes but getting away with them, and then we kind of scored two sort of softish tries, and it was all sort of like going quite well for us, and then at some point in that first half, both Bryson Goodwin and Tommy Lynham picked up leg injuries, which basically meant they were limping for the entire match. They were both really, really struggling, but we didn't have any on our bench. Just had forwards on it, so we had Tarsi and Davis, and I'm just trying to think.
Did you not slip Curry or Hughes into the centres at any stage?
So basically, because we had both of those two both of those two injured, they both obviously wanted to carry on and do their bit for the team. But then Curry and then Patton, who was coming across on that side, was doing a lot of seemed to be doing a lot more work.
We and of course that was where they broke for the couple of the tries.
Exactly.
Wasn't it?
So eventually we lost two tries down that side through our own sort of stupidity, trying to force offloads. We were doing that a lot, and it was and they weren't coming off, and we just kept trying to force them, and then we kept dropping them. Patton was particularly bad at dropping them, but they were running down those sides. And Goodwin and Lynham weren't themselves because they were on one leg, both of them, and that's where the tries came from. On the other side, Wardle was limping that whole first half, and nobody seemed to run at him. In fact, we passed him the ball at one point. With one of our offloads, and Aaron Murphy as well looked like he was really struggling to
been
run.
Busted all year, it feels like.
He really looked like he was struggling to walk at points, and we weren't kind of taking advantage of that. Now we came out in the so they scored a couple of tries. They scored 3 tries really, really quickly, brilliantly worked tries. And the young, is he a standoff or a scrum half? Ollie Russell, yeah, he played really well.
I was going to ask you how he played, because from their highlights, it seems like a couple of the tries or a couple of the Giants' good moments he was involved in, but the pass from Frawley that he got was actually not perfect, and he had to like sort of readjust on the fly, and still helped his team get set up in good field position off the back of it for I think the second and third try. It looks like a real find any time I've seen bits of him, but I've never seen him play a full game yet, other than when he was like a 18, 19-year-old at Wigan, 18-year-old at Wigan, before he left Wigan. So, good prospect.
Yeah, he looked good. I mean, he tired in the second half, and then he sort of made a mistake towards the end, but he was getting a lot of attention, and people like Ben Murdoch was still running at you and things. But yeah, he certainly had a really good first half, and he does look like a good prospect. So we came out in the second half after they'd really dominated for about 20 minutes, I guess. And then and we brought on Akawala, who only ever can do like a 5 or 7 minute stint. But in that stint, the first thing he did was he ran straight at Wardle. It didn't seem to be he just took the ball, off the kickoff, kind of like that, and his first carry, and knocked him out, and just through running at him, basically, running hard. He runs very, very hard, especially for in those first few minutes. And so Wardle was then out of the game. He went off for a concussion and he didn't come back. And then further down, then sort of English took another hit. I didn't even see how that had happened. Like it was sort of in back. There was we're playing through, and then all of a sudden he was down. But when he stood up, he had complete like jelly legs.
Was he on attack or defence?
He was defending.
Yeah.
So
basically, you upped your physicality and intensity, and unfortunately, the Giants picked up a couple of injuries off the back of it.
I didn't see that there was any particular targeting or anything of that, but what that did do is leave them sort of short of their interchanges, and then eventually we sort of got the grind, and we sort of started to break through them, and then Blake Austin turned on a little bit of class. He scored an amazing sort of try. I think that took us into the lead, and then
that was his first try. That was
we just came burst straight through.
Great run, great run.
And then that was it. Then we just kept adding tries, regularly every few minutes. It felt like, and as the game progressed, Huddersfield got more and more frustrated, and you could see sort of McGilvery getting sort of pissed off.
And,
they were all I think they were just tired of it and just wanted the game to end. And Uarte made that terrible error. He made a couple of bad errors. They dropped the ball,
and he just sort of sat down on the floor whilst the Wigan players celebrating around him. It looked so awkward. Poor lad.
But it was far from being a vintage performance from Warrington, even though we got the 50 points. There was definitely a lot of errors in their deck pattern, was making errors consistently throughout the game, but he equally sort of like set up a couple of tries and did some good stuff too. And Huddersfield just suffered because they were lacking bodies because of injury. So
fair play.
But Lynham and Goodwin managed to sort of see the game out, so I don't know whether they'll end up playing
Friday at Cass. Friday at Cass. Do you want to take us through the standings?
So top side St Helens have 24 points, 4 ahead of Warrington, who sit second. They're 4 points ahead of Hull FC, who now stand alone in third on 16 points. Wakefield head a group of 3 sides on 14 points, ahead on points difference from Castleford and Catalans. Salford on 12th sit 7th. Salford on 12th sit 7th, with Wigan and Huddersfield now closing the gap on the playoff spots on 10 points. Leeds are up to 10th, just ahead of Hull KR on points difference, both on 8 points. London are now alone on 6 points at the bottom of the table.
Stat line of the week. I've plumped for Jack Wellesby's 1 try, 12 tackle, boss, 161 metres, 3 clean breaks. There was a few from the Leeds game as well that could have been close in that. I just think all round Wellesby in attack there has shown a lot of contribution. It was really hard for me to come up with a player of the week. from just really only properly seeing one game, and that player of the week can't come from the game I saw. So I'm just going to give a nod to young Matty Costello coming in and getting a hat trick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you have a player of the week from what you saw?
I would go for Jack Wellsby just because, for the fact that he came out. He's such a young